My name is Wasi Tesfa. I am the Executive Director of Pacific Clinic's Head Start Early Head Start program here in Los Angeles, California. I'm also the chair of the Region 9 Head Start Association. I'm excited to share with you this video celebrating the history and the impact of early Head Start on our families, communities, and the nation. During the month of October, as you know, we celebrate Head Start Awareness Month. This year, Region 9 has captured some of the key details about the beginnings of early Head Start from leaders like Joan Lombardi, Cole, and Frank Fuentes. In addition, you will hear from a number of agency directors and staff who have led the implementation of early Head Start services in their local community, including the first Early Head Start program in Region 9, now led by Denise of SETA Head Start, as well as greetings from National Head Start Association Chair Damon Carson of Neighborhood House. This video tells the story of parents, staff, and others who have contributed to the movement. We hope you will enjoy the presentation shared with your staff and community partners. Enjoy.
It all started for me when I was a Head Start teacher assistant in 1972.
I have been part of this early Head Start program since 1998.
I was the Migrant Head Start chief in the late 1980s to mid 1990s.
I got the opportunity to work for Head Start in 2006, and I joined as an early educator.
It's been just an amazing journey.
An opportunity to give back to my community.
The entryway into creating tremendous opportunities for vulnerable children and families. And we say, NHA, we like to be committed to them developing in their excellence, and that certainly begins with early Head Start.
I was a graduate student at the time in this emerging early childhood movement. And like all good Head Start teachers, in the summer before the children came, this was a class of 3-year-olds back in 1972, we began visiting each family. And I was so impressed with the interest, but as I learned more and more about the children, what I began to see is ear infections that went unattended because of lack of health insurance, children who had had asthma already, and for years before that, children that were still learning language and hadn't been exposed to as much reading and language as we would want. And I wondered to myself, even back then in 72, why are we waiting so long? Little did I know at the time that the founding fathers and mothers of Head Start had thought about this in 1965. They knew the importance of serving young children, but at that time, even taking that first step of serving children before kindergarten was a big step. So although they came back to that issue as early as the next year, when they launched 33 parent-child centers in 1966, and then in 1969, the Migrant program started serving infants and toddlers.
The fact that I was the branch chief for the Migrant Head Start program was significant in that at the time of early Head Start, the Migrant programs had been serving infants and toddlers for 20 years. I was excited to see the passage of early Head Start from two perspectives. One, that there was going to be an infusion of funding into the care of infants and toddlers, because up to that point, the funding for grantees was based on preschool children. The migrants had to use that preschool per child funding to serve infants and toddlers. At the time, there was no recognition that infants and toddlers cost about 2/3 more than preschool children. And so the migrants struggled mightily with the budgets they were given to serve the number of 0 to 5 that they were reaching out to. And It was an opportunity for the migrant programs to share their knowledge and expertise in serving infants and toddlers for 20 years.
There was a buzz around extending Head Start's vision down to babies, which of course had already been there from the beginning with Migrant and seasonal Head Start. So we had been doing work in the subcommittee on children about supporting families and early development, and we were looking also for a place to do and a way to do more around that.
In 1992, when President Clinton was elected, even before he took office, he had an economic summit. And Elizabeth Shore spoke at that point at the Economic Summit about the importance of serving younger children. At the same time, the Carnegie Corporation of New York had a task force on serving younger children, in which several papers came out recommending serving children under 3.
So this was really kind of a golden age of children's policy. And we've been through a reauthorization of Head Start in 1990, where we made some really big changes in the statute to really focus on directing more funding to quality. And we'd also had a lot of other progress that included enacting the first national program for childcare in many decades. The Family and Medical Leave Act had passed multiple times and was finally signed into law in 1993. And so at the same time, more and more attention was being paid to the earliest years.
In 1993, when the president took office and had a big interest in expanding Head Start and put together a Secretary's Advisory Committee on the future of quality and expansion in Head Start, that the strong recommendation came out again to serve younger children. And although there was a lot of debate in the committee about whether we improve existing programs, whether we expand upon existing programs, or we start new ones, the report did find that there was a recommendation to move forward.
Health and Human Services, Donna Shalala, pulled together a commission on quality improvement. And that included the actual congressional staff. It wasn't just that it was supposed to include the principals, but it included a bipartisan group of congressional staff that sat in on the commission. And that's really where Early Head Start came into being.
Finally, the grants were first released, $900 million, I believe, about 66 grants in November of 1995. So we went through a 30-year period from 1965 to 1995 before we really began to seriously address infants and toddlers and pregnant women in the program.
2 early childhood titans were very active around the importance of policies that support infant toddler development. So one was Ed Ziegler, who was, of course, known as the father of Head Start, but he was also a passionate infant toddler advocate. And the other was T. Barry Brazelton, who we called America's pediatrician. So they were promoting policies that directly supported early development across the home and formal early childhood settings. And that was a goal that was looking for a home. Another key player, we had an early childhood champion in the White House in the form of the First Lady, Hillary Clinton, who, of course, had been involved with the Children's Defense Fund, totally got all of these early childhood issues and was really an advocate. And the whole Clinton administration was really keen to expand on Head Start and dig deeper into assuring quality.
I believe it was Julie Richmond, who had served as the first director of Head Start in the mid-60s, who came up with the name Early Head Start. And I love that name because it showed the link to Head Start, but it had that distinction.
My name is Denise Lee, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the Deputy Director for the Sacramento Employment and Training Agency Head Start and Early Head Start programs here in California.
My name is Ben Naki. I'm the Vice President of Early Childhood Education Programs at Parents and Children Together.
I am Sherry Wah. I am the Director here at the Child and Family Research Center at the University of Nevada, and also the Early Head Start Director. I have been at the university for 30 years, and I have been part of this Early Head Start program since 1998, and proud to be part of it.
SETA was going to go full force into it and work with its delegate agencies and other partners in the community, including the County Office of Ed, teaching strategies, Sonoma State University, and put their heads together to come up and write a wonderful grant to serve this very new age group. It wasn't just a grant that you wrote what partners you would harness to get a good score on your grant. It was really well thought out partners that can bring really great resources to the table, because while Head Start deeply knew and understood how to work with the 3 to 5 year olds in all of, at what time we called cornerstones or the performance standards. Now to switch that into this young age group required all of us to put a different thinking cap on and be open to different partners that brought things to the table. So it was very fun to read that we started out with a proposal to be 75 pregnant women and high-risk families with children 0 to 3. At the time, SETA was about 3,000 children large. Today, we serve over 6,000 families and almost 40 years in service.
We're about 12 classrooms right now, looking to get to about 15 classrooms. 3 years ago, we were approached by a local developer who was interested in developing a housing, we call it a village here, a village that would be exclusively for families that are transitioning out of homelessness. The program was really designed for families who are, need a home. They would give them a home and they would be able to live there for generations, and hence the terminology village.
It's always been about the children and the families. Babies are what drive us here, and we love to provide high quality care for infants and toddlers, so that's been the most exciting thing. As I say, we started as a very small grantee with 64 children. Over the years, we've grown, but we're still a pretty small grantee. We only serve 180 early Head Start kids. And it's still the babies every day that make it fun and satisfying and the reason that we come.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Love, and about midway through my career at Mathematica, we got this opportunity from the Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation in Administration for Children and Families to take on the task of doing the evaluation of the new Early Head Start program. Between about 1996 and 2002, when the final report of the main evaluation was published. We knew which children went into Head Start, which went into some other kind of pre-K program, and which children had no experience after their early Head Start. One thing that right away began to realize is we can't start thinking about early Head Start as a one-size-fits-all kind of program. All families were at risk, as we define it, because they were all low income. But we've looked at other areas as well, like whether the parents had graduated from high school, whether the mother was a teen mom or not. Anyway, we looked at a whole range of risk factors, and one thing we found is that the program had different degrees of impact depending on the levels of risk in those families. The second one I would say is that all children can benefit. All children can benefit from Head Start and early Head Start. That doesn't mean that all children do benefit. And here again becomes the task of the programs to see what you can do to make sure that the services you're providing meet the needs of your families. Like, don't try to squeeze a family that really needs home visiting into a center-based program, and that sort of thing. Another thing I might say is that not all children benefit in the same way. Some children see benefits in terms of their language development, some children in terms of their social emotional. So that's a really strong benefit.
I started my journey with Early Head Start through my daughter in 2011.
I am a parent of Head Start.
I had been in Head Start before coming into Early Head Start.
I was a Head Start child back in 1964.
When my child was going into her second year of Head Start, I was able to finish my undergraduate degree, and I applied to a Head Start program in 2013 as well. And I was able to get my job because I had that experience as a Head Start parent.
My journey with Head Start started when my daughter was 3 years old and we lived in Trenton, North Carolina. And now I'm currently an employee of Foothill Family Agency as a home-based supervisor.
The families that we serve, for the most part, are dealing with poverty. They're dealing with a lot of heavy issues. And so not in that level, but as a parent, I can associate, I can relate to them.
I didn't know anything about Head Start. I enrolled her in the preschool program. It was amazing that her teacher was so involved that once she met me and she saw me, she got me quickly involved in the parent committee. And I became a president of the parent committee. And in that role in volunteering in the classroom, her teacher said, I think you'd be great as a family service worker. And she persuaded me to apply for the job. And 30 years later, my career has been Head Start. But once you get the Head Start feeling down in your bones, it's kind of hard to move on to something else.
Now that I have a 9-month-old, all of the tools that the teachers provided, all of the things that they were able to introduce to me as my daughter's first teacher, now I'm able to apply to my second daughter. So I'm glad I was able to start my journey in Early Head Start at Foothill Family and continue now as an Early Head Start manager and being able to connect with families and connect with parents and understand their journey because I went through that journey with them.
Throughout that journey, to get to witness the power of belief, believing in them and they believing in themselves, and being able to make an impact in the lives of their children, to being able to feel like they're doing something good for their children. Because a lot of times our families might have not finished high school, but they still have that desire and that commitment to their children living a better life than what they were able to give themselves.
It does task and wear your soul. We are very empathetic. We can feel, we acknowledge, and that's why we have those reflective sessions with professional where staff can actually share what's on their mind. As supervisors, we have protected time and reflect as well. We're very fortunate to have a lot of resources. It's very rewarding in the heart.
With Early Head Start, a big thing is that you're always going to be surrounded by positive people who want to look forward to a better future.
I really think the program, the Early Head Start program, Head Start overall, is wonderful because children at this age, being 0 to 3, 0 to 5, it's like the building that foundation for school readiness.
If you don't have a good foundation, just like a house, if you don't have a good foundation, the house is going to fall over, right?
Our goal, and my personal goal, is to create impact in our community and to create impact in the families we serve. Because ultimately, I live in this community. I was born and raised in the community I serve. So the impact that we are creating is what we are going to receive as we, grow older and our families grow together.
Families have been able to change their lives. Parents have been able to go back to school, find employment, receive necessary services for helping them work with their child, whether it's challenging behaviors or just learning how to manage the everyday stressors of being a parent.
The Fatherhood program, it's a 24/7 DAC curriculum. It talks about the importance of being a father, how to be a better father, improves the knowledge for those fathers, and also gives them the behaviors. At one point, we had a son and a father. The son, he was going to have his first son, And then his dad had just also remarried, and he was going through this program as well. The youngest son was talking about some of the things that he didn't see in his father, like he was not very close to him. He never said that he felt that he was loved. And it was very touching because, his father was right there sitting with us, and he kind of stopped the class and he's like, I'm really sorry. I don't know how to express myself. And then now they were both becoming a father again, they start having a closer relationship.
My name is Orlando Moore, and I'm with the Sunrise Children's Foundation, Early Head Start. I became a father at a very young age, and I was introduced to the Early Head Start program through my mom and my sister. They were more than a daycare to me and my children. The teachers were like family. They made me feel welcome and respected. They held special trainings and events for dads like myself and others. The after school programs, they would call us and want the parents to be more hands-on with their children, and they wanted me to come observe how they were interacting with my kids. So that was a big thing for me because, I was always uncomfortable with sending my kids to different places without my presence. She had like a real bad speech impediment, so they helped her a lot with her language, pronouncing, a lot of different words. From my experience, I thought I had the best experience, but from other fathers, they were loving the program just as much as I was. I hope the funding for this program never goes away because it has helped so many fathers in so many different ways.
Kaylin was around 1 year old when I made the phone call to enroll her, and here we are almost 4 years later. And we are with Kids Community, which is part of Placer County Community Action. Being on Policy Council Executive Board has opened doors to experiences that I never knew existed. There's so much opportunity for parents within Early Head Start and Head Start. And I have personally witnessed parents become staff. And I am so proud of all the staff at Kids Community. And our executive director, Denise Cardoza, who believes so much in all the parents and all the staff. And I'm just so honored to have been a part of Kids Community.
Looking forward, given how important the program is, given where we are with poverty in the United States, we know that we've got a high percentage of Black and Latino children whose families are in poverty. Unfortunately, we still serve 7 or 8% of the children in poverty. We can do better than that. The country can do better than that. We should be expanding the program to all eligible children across the country, and I think that should be the goal.
Recognize the soundness of the vision behind Head Start, its comprehensive nature, its insistence on high quality early developmental services and empowering of families, and the 2-generation approach, which now is a buzzword, but has been in Head Start and Early Head Start from the beginning. And these are enduring features that have not only stood the test of time, but they've stepped up to support families during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that is just such a tribute.
Elevate the program, continue to elevate the program, continue to improve quality, continue to advocate for more access, but more importantly, enjoy your time. Many people refer to this work as God's work. So when you're doing something that's obviously very important, you need to enjoy it. So my hope is that they enjoy their opportunities, they enjoy their working environments each and every day.
I want to wish Early Head Start a very happy 25th birthday.
To the next 25 years and beyond.
To the rest of the nation, we're right alongside everybody. We're so stoked.
You guys are really making a difference in our community.
Thank you for jumping on board with this wonderful program.